Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to Who'd Win and Why. And this time we got another Halloween episode. We got a vampire, Morbius, going up against a zombie, Solomon Grundy. Another Halloweeny Marvel vs. DC debate. Now, there is one thing I want to talk about regarding this season in particular, although it also refers to the last episode I did, which was the first episode of the Halloween season, Scarecrow vs. Mysterio. In that episode, I did have the surrounding environment darker than it usually is, and that's also what I'm doing here. I'm not sure how this compares to the last one in the level of darkness, but whatever. I also had a costume on, which was my Batman costume. Now, honestly, the costume idea was fine, but I was just thinking that when I saw it on camera, it's just like, this doesn't really fit with what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to say. It was kind of distracting, and I was also really hot in the costume. Like, just to sit there in that costume for like 16 minutes or whatever trying to talk to you guys, I was like dying to take the mask off. And, some of you guys in the comments also noticed, you guys are like, I'm fine with the lighting, but, the costume just doesn't really, I don't really think it works. So, you know what, I'm just going to take out the costume idea, because I feel no matter what costume I have on, it's just going to be extremely hot, and it's just going to take away from the video. I'm still going to keep the lighting. If you guys think that there's something wrong with this lighting, or you think it's too dark, it's not dark enough, just tell me, because then I can make the corrections, or just because I want to make sure that this is, I want to make sure you guys enjoy the series in as many ways as you can. But anyway, that's not what this episode is about. This episode is about Morbius going up against Solomon Grundy. So, who would win and why? Let's find out. So first I'm going to talk about Morbius. Now, just regarding both characters for a second, some of you guys might not know these characters. If you don't know Morbius, I completely understand. I do know Morbius. I've known him for a while, but, if you don't know him, if you're, not too into comics and, superheroes and stuff like that, you might not know Morbius. If you don't know Solomon Grundy, Solomon Grundy's fairly more popular. He's a bit more popular than Morbius is, but if you don't know either of these characters, I don't really blame you. But first, let me just talk about Morbius. So I'm going to go more into his backstory, because you guys probably don't know him. Same with Solomon Grundy. So with Morbius, his real name is Michael Morbius, so he goes by his last name, and he was trying to cure himself of his rare blood disease, which was basically destroying blood cells. Now, how he was going to do this was to combine electrical shock treatment with using the fluids of bodies of vampire bats. Now, this did not work. It did not cure him. Instead, it turned him into a vampire-like creature. And the reason why I say that is because he's not an actual vampire. He's not an actual undead person, because he didn't die from this. He's just a guy that looks like a vampire and actually has a lot of abilities that relate to vampires, so they don't exactly mirror each other. Like, he's not a real vampire, although he actually doesn't have most of the weaknesses that a real vampire has, but I will get to that closer to the end of his analysis. So let's get on to what he can do. So first of all, he does have a high level of strength. He can lift about 3/4 of a ton generally, which is 1,500 pounds, and considering that a human can lift his own body weight, which would on average be like only over 100 pounds, that is extremely strong. He is also fast. He has the speed and agility, like running and agility, as it's basically superior to the finest human athlete, so that's also pretty impressive. He can also glide and or fly. In some cases he's flying, and in some cases he's just he has the ability to make himself glide in the air. I'm not sure which one to use, but whichever one it is, he has, I think his top speed is about 35 miles per hour. Now, this doesn't sound that fast, but when you really think about it, that's well over half the speed of a car going as fast as it can going through a highway, and it's about as fast as a grizzly bear can run. That is pretty fast, if you ask me. What else can he do? He can also hypnotize people. He has this mesmerizing ability, though it can only work on people that don't have a strong will. Now, granted, not many people have such a strong will, but people that do have strong wills will be immune to it. And also, he in order for it to work, he has to stare into someone's eyes for long enough, which can be hard to do considering who the opponent is. Sometimes it might be easy, sometimes it might be hard. It really just depends. What else can he do? He also, being a vampire, a vampire-like creature, he can suck the blood of other people. However, in many cases, when he sucks the blood, he turns back into Michael Morbius, his human form. And the reason for this is probably just because, when Michael Morbius isn't really always in control of his monstrous form, and generally what happens is he, when he turns back, he's because sometimes he's a villain, sometimes he's kind of a hero, but, when he turns back, it's just he feels sorry for everything he's done, and sometimes it's just because the plot requires him to do that, but generally that is what's consistent. whenever he sucks the blood of someone, he turns back, but he also needs to suck blood on a regular basis in order to survive. Now, this doesn't mean he needs to do it like 3 times a day. He can actually like go on for a bit longer than that, but after a while he will start to lose power, he will start to become weaker and overall become less tired. Though generally his stamina is pretty high, he can exert himself at the fullest for several hours without, suffering from fatigue or actually like tiring. So that's pretty impressive as well. That's pretty cool. He also does have sharp claws and fangs. Now he does use both of them for combat. As I've said, he does suck the blood of people when he needs to, or just whenever he wants to. If he feels that he needs to do it in battle, he can do it in battle as a tactic, as a strategy. But he also does have claws, which can, with ease, cut through regular people. He has fought Spider-Man many times before. Generally, it hasn't really turned out that well, considering Spider-Man is much stronger than him, and probably faster than him as well. But, Morbius is a very versatile combatant. He can glide, he has hypnotism. He's very strong, he's very fast, he's Spider-Man-like, but he doesn't have, the special abilities that he has, obviously. But, he also has acute senses. He's able to, see in the dark and see things from a very far distance. So he's a very versatile foe, though he doesn't have that much combat training, and he hasn't fought that many people. When it comes to combat training, he doesn't really have any formal combat training at all. He more so just uses his own fighting style, or whatever you want to call it. And when it comes to who he's fought, he has fought Spider-Man before, and sometimes he has teamed up with him, but generally he hasn't fought that big of a range of characters. And as I've said before, he can start tiring if he doesn't get blood immediately. Well, no, not immediately. If he doesn't get blood after a while, he will start to tire, and he does rely on blood in order to survive, but it will turn him back into a regular person if he does it. That's almost kind of like 2 weaknesses in one. So that's not really a good thing. But Morbius, even though he isn't really a vampire and he doesn't have everything that has to do with him, he is one vampire you don't want to mess with. The last thing I want to say is, while he doesn't die, he's not wouldn't stake through the heart, and all of the weaknesses, or most of the weaknesses that a vampire has, Morbius he does not have those weaknesses, except for sunlight. He does kind of burn in sunlight, but he doesn't die from it, and his powers do actually start decreasing while he's in sunlight. So he does like to operate during the night, or whenever he can find shade. That's where he wants to be. So that's really all I have to say for Morbius. He is a very versatile combatant, so I understand why it took so long to get through him, but I hope you guys enjoyed all that research and all that stuff. But now let's move on to Solomon Grundy. So Solomon Grundy's a lot more one-dimensional than Morbius is. Not trying to say that he's a bad character or anything. It's just more so that he's going to be more easy to analyze, and he's just going to take a quicker amount of time. So for Solomon Grundy's background, he was a wealthy man named Cyrus Gold, but he was blackmailed by a prostitute and was, I believe, dead before he was buried, or just he sunk in haunted swamps. And when he arose, he became Solomon Grundy, who is basically an extremely strong and extremely tough, though not so extremely intelligent, monster or zombie. So what can Solomon Grundy do? Well, he has an immensely high level of strength. His strength and stamina has fluctuated in the past, but at his best, Solomon Grundy has been able to go toe-to-toe with Superman, and I'm not sure if he's actually beaten him, but he has been able to take his punches and fight him for an extended period of time. And you know how strong Superman is, and how fast he can fire those punches. That's insane when you really think about it. And he doesn't have any high level of speed or agility, but he doesn't really need to, because he has an extremely high level of durability and stamina. Now, Solomon Grundy doesn't need to rely on oxygen or food or water in order to keep going. And when it comes to stamina, he can actually go on for it. It hasn't really been established how long he can go, but considering he does not need oxygen in order to survive, I'm assuming it's for a pretty dang long time. And he's also invulnerable, believe it or not. Bullets and burns and everything, and the cold, it doesn't affect him. There's only been one thing I believe that's been able to affect him, but I believe it was more so targeted at Grundy himself. So, his invulnerability is really going to help him. He also has a healing factor should he need it, though he might not need to because, he's extremely durable and he's invulnerable. But when it comes to intelligence, that's his biggest weakness. His intelligence, it has fluctuated over the years because he is able to regenerate, well, not regenerate, he is able to heal and he is able to resurrect himself. Whenever he dies, he does always come back. And that can sometimes change his intelligence level. Sometimes he has below average intelligence, sometimes he has adequate intelligence, sometimes he's even a super genius. Generally, however, he does have below average intelligence and he is pretty easy to manipulate. Though I'm pretty sure he's not going to give up his resurrection ability for having a consistent level of intelligence. So that's the main stuff about Solomon Grundy. Just going over it again, he is extremely strong, he's extremely durable. He doesn't really have that much of a high level of speed or agility, but he is invulnerable and he can exert himself at his fullest for a very long time. He has fought a lot of different people before. I believe once he even fought the Flash, Batman, and Alan Scott, who was the first Green Lantern, all at once, and he did really well. So that's pretty amazing when you actually think about that. Okay, so I pretty much went over everything about these characters that I feel I need to. Obviously, I took more time analyzing Morbius than Solomon Grundy because there's just more stuff to talk about. So now, who I think would win? Now, I like this episode as a whole, but then again, I don't. Because the reason why I like this episode is because I feel very confident in who I think would win. And that's a good thing, especially for this series. That's a really good thing, because I want to make sure that I'm getting all the information right, and that I want to say the best things and the most accurate things to you guys. The only thing bad with this, though, is that the reason why I feel I'm confident and the reason why I really feel this one person would beat the other person is because I feel it's kind of an obvious answer. And this is, again, all just my opinion, but I really, really, really think that Solomon Grundy would take this fight with little effort. Now, I could obviously be wrong, and I might be wrong, but from what I've researched and from what I've seen and from what I've gathered and from what other people have gathered, I really think Solomon Grundy would take this fight. Now, some of you guys might want me to go over the obvious thing first, which is the resurrection. And I'm not sure where to go with this one, because obviously resurrecting and saying that you can still fight is OP, but the definition of resurrecting is coming back from the dead, meaning you've already died. And if this is a battle to the death, how do I take this? Is it like when you die the first time, Morbius has won the battle, or when you put him down for good as he won the battle? Because obviously Morbius won't be able to do that. But whatever one it is, even if I say that Solomon Grundy has to die once for Morbius to win, I still think that Solomon Grundy would win this fight. Now let me just move on to the other main thing that you guys might be thinking about, which is the blood sucking. Now some of you might not know this, and I'm not even 100% sure if this is correct, but apparently Solomon Grundy's blood is toxic. Yeah, it's toxic. Which means that if Morbius did try to suck Solomon Grundy's blood, first of all, I'm not even sure if that teeth could even pierce through his skin, because he can take punches from Superman and from nearly all the members of the Justice League. He's fought all the members of the Justice League, and sometimes multiple of them at once. So that's crazy. I'm not even sure if two little vampire, not really vampire teeth are actually gonna pierce through it. But even if he does, as soon as he drinks the blood from him, he is going to turn back into a regular person, and he's going to be poisoned by the toxic blood. And Solomon Grundy's not going to be affected by the blood loss that much, considering his regenerative abilities have even allowed him to restore lost blood in seconds. So really, there's nothing that Morbius can really do with the blood. And personally, because Morbius knows that he's going to be turning back into a regular person, I don't think that he'd want to suck Solomon Grundy's blood immediately. It'd be more so as a last resort to try to finish him off if he does feel tired. But, it's not going to work regardless. I personally don't think it would really have a chance of working. Going back to stamina for a second, because, even though Morbius can exert himself for, several hours, Solomon Grundy has been shown to go longer on average, and we have seen that he doesn't need oxygen, he doesn't need food, and I'm assuming that can allow him to go for more than a few hours. And like I said, if it does get to the point where it turns to daytime, that's going to put Morbius at a huge disadvantage. His powers are going to become weaker. He's not going to be at his fullest because, he's trying to get away from the sunlight, and it's just going to be something. It's going to make him wide open for Solomon Grundy to beat him down. And when you really think about it, like, what's left? Okay, so we have versatility and speed and agility versus strength, stamina, and durability. Now, I know that versatility and speed and agility are really good. They're really good advantages to have. But when you're trying to put them up against someone like Solomon Grundy, it's not really going to do much, and here's why. Yes, he's more versatile. Yes, Morbius is much more versatile. But in the end, what's that really going to do to Solomon Grundy? All that Morbius is going to do is really just tick him off for a bit, and then as soon as Solomon Grundy actually gets his hands on him, he can rip him in half. He's going to be, because remember, like Morbius also has a healing factor as well. He can heal faster than most people, maybe up to a Spider-Man level, but he can't regenerate lost organs. Neither can Solomon Grundy, but still, Morbius, like, if he gets ripped in half, he's dead. He's not going to be able to come back. So yeah, that's just what I feel. I feel that his healing factor is not going to save him from the punches that Solomon Grundy can dish out. And then with the versatility, like, yes, he can fly. Morbius can fly or glide, whatever you want to call it. And he can hypnotize people. Now, hypnotization is actually something, well, hypnosis, I guess I should say, is actually something a bit. It's weird, because I do think that he'd be able to hypnotize Solomon Grundy, because Solomon Grundy's kind of an idiot. He's not really all that smart, and I feel that he doesn't have that strong a will. That's my opinion anyway. But even so, you need to stare into his eyes for a really long time, and I don't think Solomon Grundy is going to give him the opportunity to do that, nor does Morbius actually have the strength or durability to actually get him to, like, stand still or to let him look in his eyes. I don't think Solomon Grundy's not going to give Morbius that opportunity to actually hypnotize him. And even if he does hypnotize him, again, what's he going to do to him? Solomon Grundy is too durable. Nothing that Morbius has is actually going to hurt Solomon Grundy. And just, even with the versatility and speed, I like to think of this fight as almost like a fight close to Spider-Man versus the Hulk. Because Spider-Man is more versatile, he is much smarter, because Morbius is much smarter than Solomon Grundy, and he is faster, he is more versatile in general. But it's only a matter of time before Hulk is going to rip him in half. He could tick him off a bit, but all Spider-Man's going to be able to do is delay the inevitable, and that's what I feel is going to happen with this fight as well. Morbius will be able to, it will take some time for Solomon Grundy to actually lay a hand on him, but as soon as he does, it's over. Like, Morbius is dead. But anyway, that's how I think this fight would go down. If you think that Morbius would win, please comment down why. I really want to know, because I don't know everything about these characters. I do try to do as much research as I can, and I do like to gather as much as I can, but I might not have gotten everything. So if you guys think that that Morbius would win, please comment down. If you think that Solomon Grundy would win for other reasons that I didn't mention, please comment down below that as well, because I want to know as much about the characters as I can. So yeah, I would really appreciate that. Also, if you could comment down what ideas you'd like to see for the Christmas season, which is the next season after this one. It's still a ways away, but still, I'd like to see what you guys think of, what you guys could suggest. Please comment down those below as well. I'd also like to say a few things at the very end. So, I was going to say this at the very end of the last episode as well, but thank you guys so much for 150 subscribers. At this point right now, I have 150 subs. That's honestly so amazing. I can't believe I'm up there. And, I hit 100 subscribers about half a year ago, but still at the, and that might not seem like a lot, 50 more subs, but, for the rate that I'm going at right now, it's actually much higher than anything that I've had before on this channel. The growth has just been amazing compared to what else I've had on this channel. So please, guys, not please. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It really means so much to me. I'm so glad you guys are actually watching the show, and you guys are actually commenting and having discussions underneath. I reply to comments, so if you want to talk or anything, I don't know, just comment down below, all that stuff. I also want to thank Lucas Green and Gage Unruh, because these guys have started. Well, Lucas Green's been doing it for a while, but Gage Unruh, both of them have actually gathered information for me to use for my videos. They're actually kind of like my mini research team. So I want to thank both of you guys for all the stuff that you've done for me so far with giving me the research and giving me the information. Honestly, guys, to the viewers, this show would not be at the same level, would not be at the level that it is right now without these two people. So guys, please subscribe. Lucas Green, Gage Unruh, please subscribe to both of these guys. That would really mean a lot to me. That would really mean a lot to me. And if you guys could subscribe to my channel, let's keep going. Let's get to 200 subs. But seriously, if you would subscribe subscribe, that'd be great. I know that means that you guys are really excited about the show and you guys really want to help support the show and keep helping it grow. Show your support by subscribing and liking and all that good stuff. If you could subscribe, that would make my day. You know, you don't have to, but if you would, that'd be awesome. So guys, thanks for watching Morbius vs. Solomon Grundy, and next time on Who'd Win and Why, we got a battle of the two vampire hunters. We got Blade going up against Buffy the Vampire Slayer. See you then.